We're one of the coaches within the summer cluster, and we serve as a technical assistance provider throughout Fresno County. So, we get out to a lot of the centers, the schools throughout our community, and so, we get a glimpse at what's really happening around this issue of summer. And I guess in the spirit of the network approach to these challenges in our community, I would like to take the opportunity to spotlight some innovative summer practice that's happening in Central Unified School District under the leadership of Mike Berg, as well in partnership with Fresno County Office of Education, Jim Medino, and Dr. Koper, as well as CBOs like the California Teaching Fellows Foundation and us, Central Valley Under School, around this issue of summer and combating summer learning loss, and a literacy as a thread that is strewn throughout very seamlessly in this network approach to combating, first and foremost, grade level reading. Central Unified has identified and this synergistic approach to sharing data about need with their K2 component that's happening at Harvest Elementary School this year. They've identified 425 kids are below grade level with K2. And so these folks within the district have been targeted. They've received invitations to have their children participate in a program at Harvest Elementary. For those kids, they're going to receive 5 weeks of 4-hour day. I believe it's 24 days because 4th of July is a little holiday. But of intensive support around literacy. And it is a partnership between certificated teachers and at-will employees through the California Teaching Fellows Foundation. Another bright spot to share within this prototype that has been developed over the last several years is the Kinder Camp that's happening at Herndon Barstow, where they've identified, utilizing data, youth that have not received any type of onboarding into the school system. So these are kinders that are coming without any type of supports in pre-K. And so this is happening at Herndon Barstow. And last but certainly not least, something that's been a part of all of our clusters around access and quality in summer is the Central Enrichment Summer Adventures Program, which is a robust partnership between a lot of local community players like the libraries, the parks, community agencies like the Teaching Fellows, Fresno State University, Kaiser Permanente, of course, Yvonne Corrosion, and the generous contributions of the Community Benefits Office there, to create this wraparound approach for what was 400, but Central Unified has asked us to ante up and serve an additional 200 kids. We have 600 kids now coming from 5th through 8th grade. Now, of course, this approach not toward targeting grade level reading for 3rd graders, but we're looking at those kids that have maybe slipped through the cracks over the years, they've fallen behind, and they're receiving a healthy dose of innovative STEM practice, as well as literacy thematic units around a chosen text. And ultimately, I think what's truly unique about this is that we've gone through the design cycle, we've gone through this cycle of continuous improvement. There's a real seamless flow of data and ideating around what's working, what's not, and putting it to practice at that point of service. So, hats off. I know in these types of gatherings, we tend to focus on what's not happening. We're a lot of very passionate people. We want more and greater than what we're currently doing in the status quo. But I think what you have an example in Central, and we invite you to come out and visit, is some truly innovative programming for the summer, and it has made Fresno a real pace setter and a thought leader on all things summer.
With some of the families in the El Dorado neighborhood, and really kind of this concept of it's really not about so much access to services, it's really about kind of the culture and climate of being welcoming and being able to engage. So both on the side of creating opportunities for development of staff and volunteers who are providing these services, at the same time creating relationships with parents. And so we have some work to do. We were kind of in the sort of ideating / beginning the prototype, but one of the things we really discussed that I think we're going to kind of focus in on today, hopefully, is really going back to now that we kind of have this sense of what we one of the key issues, right, is like, and it's not just like what are the barriers, but like what are the real solutions we can do to kind of create more welcoming environments because like especially in El Dorado, there's a lot of services, but figuring out that way to actually make those connections and getting people linking together is just critical, and it's really been a challenge for a long time. So going back to the empathizing and really maybe thinking about different ways you can look at what's been working really well in Sanger and figuring out things that translate to the El Dorado neighborhood and things that maybe don't. But really getting an opportunity to sit down and empathize and really try to experience life through the eyes of parents who live in these neighborhoods. So we'll be talking a little bit more about maybe some field trips and things that we can do together as a group to really go back and to really dig deep into that, because I think having a better understanding of what our parents are going through and what makes them afraid or what makes them challenged or what makes them angry and upset, things like that I think are going to be really important for us to make sure we find the right secret sauce to kind of put on it.
Okay, where we landed is we are in the ideation stage of the design cycle, and we focused primarily on the SARB process and learned that kindergarten has one of the highest SARB rates, and that we need to take a look at some of our own systems issues, but we were very pleased that we this time had most of the right people at the table, the right systems represented, and there were some good ideas for both some small wins that could be implemented fairly immediately. And one example is Judge Orozco was saying, you know, school attendance for their kids for somebody who's on probation is actually part of probation, but we never ask them that question. And so all we would need to do is to make it conscious for judges to say, are you getting your kids to school? And if not, then that could be a violation of your probation, which is something that would be easy to fix. Yeah. So there are things like that we want to focus, and we're trying to identify by our next meeting one school that once we come up with what we want to do, we would know where we would start as a pilot.
So we had some amazing discussion on some, especially the bright spots that were bubbling up within our group here. But at our last meeting, we really had come together, discuss ways that we can wrap around our services and ideas around the Summer Literacy Project with Central Unified. And so today we just really had a chance to, not a lot of discussion, but kind of just learning some best practices that are already happening within the university school at Fresno State, CESA, and ways that we can just start to measure what it is we want to see, hard data outcomes that we want to see with getting over 600 kids to a summer camp.
There's actually 4 groups under school readiness because we're such a big group. I lead the one in quality, and I think we're a little bit different, so hopefully this is okay. Our prototype is actually a quality rating improvement system that we started in 2008, so a long time ago, but it's finally a document, and we are in the middle of our second pilot. So what this document does, it is a way that a preschool, actually birth through 5-year-old program, doesn't matter if it's at a school, if it's a faith-based, if it's a private, if it's a family child care provider, all of them are included. And it is a way to grade their quality. And there's 7 indicators. And you have to realize we had higher ed people, CSN, Head Start, private care providers, family child care providers, parents, massive diversity in our structure that came up with this. But we've been working on it for 6 years, okay? That's how long it takes. But we came up with a document, and it's actually been implemented. It's having really good success. We have trainings that are free for people. So if you don't score so hot in this, you get this free training. So I think we're a little ahead of the game in exactly finding a prototype. but there's other things that are, you know how work is, you just get one thing done and then there's 16 other things that you can do. And the things that we are now coming to grips with are, how do we get the word out faster? So that's one thing we want to work on. And how are we going to keep this sustained? Which will be an issue for all of these groups. Because right now we have money for this. But the money ends in like, what, a year or two? Year and a half. And we want this to be such a household name. So if I'm a young mother and I'm trying to find a school, the first thing I would say is, are they in this Early Stars quality improvement rating system? And of course they have to be. I wouldn't go to a school that's not in that system. And it has to be at least a 3-star. Otherwise, I'm like, it's not a good enough quality. So that's where we're kind of putting our game plan.
What we started with earlier, other than we've come up with, more names to add to our list of people we want to bring to the table. We want to do some work with the epidemiologist to get a lay of the land of what we see and get some data put together. So we've got some work to do, and we're going to be meeting again before the next action forum to get some more work done.
Okay, great. Readiness, the quality rating improvement system. And from there, it's like, okay, we have a section in which we want to know, it's more than just literacy in the programs that when they first start in preschool, we want to reach out to the parents, prenatal, the importance of giving them the education. So definitely engaging the parents in the libraries. So using that as a platform, we brainstormed again about who our additional partners would be. So we added to that, and then it's like, well, what do we do with all this great information when we have this quality rating improvement system, when we have some of the assessments, and how is it that we transition from, say, one provider to the next, or from the provider to the school districts. So in terms of next steps, it would be looking at our previous notes, synthesizing that, and then creating that prototype. So it's all in our heads right now. Good, great.
So this was actually our fourth meeting, and we're really close to the pilot stage. And our homework for today was to assess the needs of volunteers and the pipeline of programs from prenatal to 3rd grade. And so looking at birth through 3, I had met with the directors of Early Head Start and Head Start, and we determined that a volunteer program that would be helpful would be a Promotoris program. And sorry, we're piloting in the Lowell Elementary School neighborhood, so there's a lot of action there already with collective impact. So there is a Promotoris program there, and our pilot will be to tag on a child reading program to the summer Platicas program that's happening there. So while the parents are having their informal sort of educational conversations, there'll be a read aloud to kids, and we're going to look for resources to fund that. And then the next component would be to try and find events, sort of the family resource style events, whether it's health screenings or health fairs or child development screenings or kindergarten orientations, and see what's happening this summer and try and get volunteers involved in supporting those kind of family resource style events. And the last part of the pipeline is getting volunteers into classrooms. And so we met with the principal of the elementary school to assess the volunteer needs there. And he listed a number of things that could be supportive. And Hands On is actually hosting a AmeriCorps Vista volunteer coordinator that will start there next year to develop a volunteer program at Lowell. So hopefully as we solidify things, we'll get this great pipeline of volunteers.
What everybody's doing, this is my first time coming, but what I've learned a lot from our group is we really want to focus on how do we engage our parents. And so we know there's a lot of obstacles and there's a lot of things that, we assume that that's the reason why they're not coming or why they're not being engaged. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to focus on El Dorado, and I know Mike is going to get a lot of homework to do from now. No homework for him. So we are going to focus on El Dorado, and we are going to talk to the principal from Walters Elementary, and we're going to find out who are the kids that are not reading at grade level from K through 3. And then from there, we really want to see the data and then kind of target those parents and see what is it and ask them why is it that they're not being engaged. And so we also want to bring somebody from Fresno Unified to kind of help us with the data as well, so that we coordinate all that together. So we have some homework to do. I think this is their second meeting, and so we're very excited. And I know we're going to report some great stuff next time.